Welcome in, seeing Scarlet. What's up, Red Raiders? We're getting ready for so many of our sports, including
It's August, man.
football. It's August. I'm getting ready for the weather, getting changed. Where are my flannels? Getting ready for the football season.
Probably not quite flannel weather yet in Texas, but we're getting closer day
It's
by
been
day.
a while. It's been a while since I've had a fall in Texas. So, but thank y'all for joining us. This is Seeing Scarlet. We talk about all Texas Tech sports, and that includes football. And y'all, we have such a great episode with this one. We are sure that all of y'all know the stats, the predictions, the preseason this, preseason that, the great stuff. That's great. And Shelby's going to be bringing us I'd say like 3.1, because you got a fourth bullet here, Shelby.
Mention.
All right, I'm just saying. So
sneak it
3
in
plus.
Honorable
3+
mention,
stories to watch out for this season. I'm really excited. This is going to be the first time that I'm hearing about it too, y'all.
Oh,
so
fun.
I'm excited to ask you questions. Yeah, I feel like that I don't have, or I'm not on social media anymore. Really,
true.
It's just like I don't know what
except
happens.
for on the Seeing Scarlet page, you know.
Mm-hmm.
See,
So I'm excited to learn more about these 3 stories. It seems like, how did you grab these 3? Was it like,
it's just stuff that I've heard over the last 6 to 8 months that have stuck in my brain. Like, that is a storyline that I'm really excited to see play out in real time. Like, of course, like you said, we could talk about all the stats. We could talk about Tyler Shuck coming back and his injury history, and that if he stays healthy, he's 8-0 in the games that he starts and he finishes. All those storylines are there. You've heard them over and over and over again. We could go through the schedule and give you our prediction game by game, but we're super biased, and we'd have a hard time being like, we're going to lose that game. So by the end of the episode, we'd be 13-0 and had won a natty. So
we are awful at predictions, y'all.
We can't do that. We win every time. Ourselves. And so I just wanted to give you my 3 storylines, our 3 storylines to watch that have stuck out from the off season so far. And this first one came out. I mean, it's been in the works all off-season, but the quotes came out about it recently. It's the most recent story of the ones, is the development of our offensive line. I'm going to cry. I can't even imagine how our quarterbacks feel.
A what? Yeah, no kidding.
What is an offensive line? They don't just snap the ball and then run away. They actually... I'm kidding.
Patrick Mahomes, we're sorry.
Yeah. Oh, God. It wasn't quite that bad last year, but... It was not great. There are a couple of returners from that group, and they were the best of that bunch. There was a lot of youth in the past, a lot of injuries in the past. That's not going to be the case this year. And our quarterbacks in this offense, if you give Zach Kitley time for his quarterbacks, those guys getting open down the way. And so they won't just have to be like last year. It was you got one read, you better get rid of the damn ball, or you're getting sacked. Yeah, there's a reason Tyler Shuck broke his collarbone again 2 years in a row. There's a reason that when Morton got in there, he banged up his ankle in the first game he was in, because they're getting
wrecked.
They are. So this year, the rumors are that their latest spring scrimmage just a few days ago, our quarterbacks were just back there bopping along, just
having a picnic.
And I get it. Tyree Wilson's not here on the defense anymore. Who were they going against? But there's a lot of stalwarts still on the defensive line that are impressive. You got the 2 seniors in the middle. Like, they're going to be making pressure for him if the offensive line wasn't doing their Joey McGuire was actually quoted after that as saying, Shuck didn't know what to do with all the time. I was joking with Tyler Shuck about how you don't know what to do with all the time you have back there, do you, buddy? Yeah. And I literally wanted to cry when I heard that, because
thank you. That means they're safe.
If you give them time, it opens up a lot of things in this offense. So
and that's how we roll. We love that.
Yes. I'm so excited about it. And why is the time here? Yeah. If you start you hear those things, and then you look at it on paper, the experience, the age of this offensive line is borderline hilarious.
No way.
Let me take you through it. You got Cole. You got Monroe Mills. He's a normal senior. He's only fourth year senior.
This is where we're starting.
Yeah,
where you're saying normal senior with air quotes.
Yeah, return. He'll be a good contributor. We're happy to have him. Good. Then we keep going. We got Cole Spencer. Hold on to your horses, people. A seventh year senior. my man's probably as old as we are at this point. Like, we call ourselves old. I don't even understand how he's still there.
How do you do that?
Well, he got his COVID year.
Okay.
Last year was supposed to be his 6th year.
Okay.
But he got a preseason injury. He actually followed Zach Kittley from Western Kentucky, which you've spent time there, right?
Go Hilltoppers.
That's where Kittley was before he came back to Texas Tech, and he brought Cole Spencer, who was a very fought-over offensive lineman in the transfer market. He was an Outland preseason watch list player prior to last season, going into Texas Tech's season with him, which is a award given out to the best interior offensive lineman in the country. So he's like considered like a top 50 offensive lineman going into the season. Unfortunately, he was injured in preseason camp, and so he sat out all of last year. So now he comes back for what will be his 7th year.
Let's go, man.
In a college football program. Obviously, he has not played 7 years. That's not legal, but he has been injured twice and has a COVID year that he's working on.
All right.
And so he's a big one to get. A lot of programs wanted him. He followed Kittley from Western Kentucky. He had to sit out last year. He's also a part of the reason our offensive line was struggled last season is because we built the team with him being
in mind,
a centerpiece, a part of it. So that was a big one on that. His counterpart from Western Kentucky, a teammate, followed him the next year, so this year, in Rusty Stats, who will be playing center, which carries over into the rest of the people on this. But he has been a Remington watch list award or nominee in the past, which is for the best center in the nation. It wasn't last year, but it's in his career. He's been on that list before. It shows you the ability that this guy has, that he has the eyeballs on. The scouts are looking at him. He comes over this year. He'll be a 6th year senior.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
It's baffling the experience that we have compared to what we've had in the past. And it's not like they have to join an offensive line where they're not familiar with anybody. These two guys played together for a few years at Western Kentucky next to each other.
Hilltopper blood.
If there's any position group in football that needs to be comfortable with each other, it's the offensive line. It's similar in soccer where we've been talking to Hannah Anderson and all these other backline players in soccer. They got to have that same camaraderie and trust and belief in each other that you're going to get this guy, I'll get this guy. So that's important.
And the offensive line coach is Stephen Hamby. He's also from Western Kentucky. It seems like Zach said, hey, y'all, get in the car.
They had one of the best offensive lines in the country when he was there.
So cool.
And that contributed to that crazy season when he led the country in offense. Bailey Zappi, who's now with the New England Patriots as their backup quarterback, was the quarterback then, so that helped these offensive linemen get seen. And that was the years they were getting these awards. Because they were getting seen, and then now they're at Texas Tech and they're about to get seen again because Shuck and Fam are gonna go off as well. So
Shuck and Fam.
Give me a T-shirt.
I like it. Okay, so a 6-year experienced returner.
That theme continues with Dennis Wilburn, who was on the team last year, who's probably our best statistically performing offensive lineman last year, and he actually played center last year.
Nice.
But this year, he'll be able to bump over to like a more natural guard position, and he did really well at center. He only allowed 2 sacks, which I don't even want to look it up. Look it up. You can pull it up. How many sacks we allowed last year? It was a lot. Quarterback pressures. It was not good. And the fact that he only allowed 2 of them shows that he was one of the better ones. Now he gets to bump over to a more natural position because Stats is going to come in as the stalwart there at center. And he'll still be there. 6th year. 6th year. Another one. Then you move on to Caleb Rogers, who's just a normal 4th-year senior, like his friend Monroe Mills. He was one of the only, along with Wilburn last year, he was the only one to start all the games last season. So he comes in. He has actually started 29 consecutive games on the offensive line since his freshman year. He's been a stalwart since stepping on campus. He has a lot of battle scars, if you will, a lot of snaps under his belt. These are not just old players because they've been hanging around not getting playing time. They've played a lot of snaps at the college football level, and you're going to be able to see that on display this year. And it's not saying they're going to be perfect. They're going to allow some sacks. They're going to have some missed assignments and all those things. It's going to happen, but they're not going to get rattled by them. So when something goes wrong, they'll be like, hey, guys, we've done this 9,000 times before. Yeah. Regroup. Yeah. Make the next rep be our best. That's what you don't have to worry about with experience that you have to worry about with young ones. So the offensive line is one of my... It might not be flashy, but it's one of my favorite storylines to watch coming into the season because I think if you have a good offensive line, that opens up so much. Because we had a good offense last year, but it was all like, get rid of it and pray for your life that they did something with it. You're going to have a lot more time for people to open up downfield.
Yeah, like, and do what they do really well, right? Instead of like having to sacrifice any kind of resources elsewhere. But
for sure,
I like that. As you were talking through the players, I was like looking them up, and they're passing the vibe check too, just in case
That's
anybody was
more
wondering.
important than anything I've said.
In
City
case
thinks they passed the vibe check, so book it,
Like,
Natty. Get your tickets now.
Caleb Rogers' roster photo, it has like the biggest smile I've ever seen in my life.
He's cheesing it up.
It
I
is
love it.
really cool. Yeah, awesome. Wow. So
boom.
Yeah, that's the O-line.
That's the
We're
O-line.
feeling good.
And then another one that I've mentioned before on the show, I believe, because I've been hyped about this guy since we signed him, actually plays into the first one. I think he will have an opportunity to shine because of our offensive line being better. But his name is Drae McCray. He is a transfer from Austin Peay, an FCS school where he just absolutely dominated for 2 seasons. Again, I get it, FCS level, but it don't matter. He caught 129 catches for 1,888 yards and 17 touchdowns across his 2 seasons at that level. He was all conference, blah, 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 all the things that you can get.
Yeah.
Just dominated.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. I could go on all day about just his stats.
So good. Yeah, okay.
Quick.
Drae McCray.
A burner. Fun to watch. He's 5'9". He's just a little
We love him.
jitterbug out there.
Give us those.
He's one of the fastest players in the country. In high school alone, which it's probably even better now, he ran a 10.3 in the 100. Put him on the track team, buddy. Come join over Kitley this
you know
spring.
that's how we roll. Like, why not?
Why not?
This is great news for everybody.
Kitley's probably like, hey, buddy.
Kitley's great.
Other Kitley.
Oh, yeah.
Papa Kitley's like, come on over.
PK.
Hall of Famer, Papa Kitley.
I know, dude.
Let's go.
And he just signed a new renewing contract.
Lucrative. My man, making money.
Lucrative.
Other people retiring, he's making millions. Love it for him.
You know, sidebar. I just watched Untold about like Johnny Manziel. I'm sure they do all sorts of different.
It was a great documentary.
I'm curious.
I
I'm
learned
still
a lot.
processing, but it
was
did
not
make me do
great
this.
for him, but it was great entertainment.
I just started doing the money sign again. I was like, ugh.
No, don't say because our guy Baron Morton does the money sign, so he's reclaiming it. He's a big Manziel fan, so we can reclaim it with Baron. But
anyway.
yeah, so and then people would be like, it was at the FCS level. That doesn't mean anything. Well, how about this? Last year they played just a little team called Alabama. Have you heard of them, Sebi?
Who?
Just the Crimson Tide. There's
War
this guy named
Tide?
Yeah, War Tide. There's this guy named Nick Saban, if you've heard of him. He's a pretty good coach. They're permanently like the #1 team in the country and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, they played them last year. And what did our boy do?
What did he do?
Different outlets say different things. He either had 10 or he had 12 catches. Doesn't matter. He had a lot of catches for 92 yards against the Alabama Crimson Tide.
I think that is good.
Let him cook. How many DBs did they have drafted? Like, the guy's going against NFL talent and was still out there. They could. That shows you that his speed is
cannot be stopped.
And his speed held up against the best of the best, right? So that is where you get excited about him. It's one thing when you get a transfer. We've had transfers before with similar makeups, not the speed as much, but similar makeups, even similar stats that have come from the FCS level.
Okay.
But excuse me, but he has done it against that competition. You're like, he's going to be fine. So he excites me for that, because on paper, he's done it. He's been there. But he also excites me because
there's more.
Do you remember a little old player named Jakeem Grant back in the day?
Love Grant.
With Mahomes. I think I think for the first time we have a player like him. I think Miles Price, who's still on the team, I considered him for this episode. I think he could have a bounce back year. He didn't get to do much last year because he's one of those players that needs more time from the quarterback position to get him downfield. I can see him having a good year as well as a senior. But Drae is a burner, just like Jakeem was. And there's highlights of him at Austin Peay taking a quick slant 90 yards to the house. He just needs a little space, he's gone.
Yeah, any kind
little
of
space, gone. He'll also
dangerous.
Just outrun you. There's not going to be anybody that can one-on-one guard him in a football game. There's just not. you're going to be banking on the team not having time to get him the ball because his routes are going to take a long time to develop because he's going to need to get downfield and get open. So if number 1 on this list turns out, like they're saying, and they do give our quarterbacks more time to throw, I think you're going to see Mr. Drae McCray have more than a few bomb touchdowns this year and a few quick little scat back plays like Jakeem Grant. I bet he could potentially return punts. That's kind of Miles Price does that as well. So we'll see. We have 2 years of McCray, so maybe they'll let the senior Miles Price return punts for the year. I don't know, but McCray definitely can return punts as well. Yeah. There has been some reports of him muffing some punts in practice. I did see that a few weeks ago. So maybe, I don't know, he's working on that, but he has the ability to do that. And we have a really deep receiving core this year. Obviously, Jerron Bradley, we're not forgetting about him. He's could be Crabtree level stuff this year. But he needs a Batman to his Robin, or Robin to his Batman, so to speak. And that could be McCray along with the rest of the gang. I don't think he's going to be catching 100 passes and all that like he did at Austin Peay, just because there's so many options. I do think he's going to have at least 4. I'm putting in the call. Mark it down. At least 4 bomb touchdowns, like over 40-yard touchdowns this year.
Heard it here first. That will be McCray.
That'll be Drae McCray doing that thing. So I'm excited to see him get to work. He's just fun. I've been excited about him since December. I think we signed him. On paper, he's one of the better names, pickups, and I think he'll be a household name into the season just because he's fun to watch, and he'll be juking people out of their shoes and all that. And him and Miles Price together. Miles isn't quite as fast, but he's still stupid quick. So they can trade off. I don't know how we're gonna. There's a lot of athletes on this receiving core, and Bradley's getting all the hype, and I totally get it. People are like, he could win the Heisman. I totally get it. I just think it's gonna be a more well-rounded receiving core than people are thinking. I think it's gonna be the ball's hopefully gonna be spread out a little more. That's a good thing. Yep. Let Bradley do the thing, and then McCray blowing the top off the defense will just get Bradley more room to work.
Yep.
In the middle of the field. So I'm here for it.
I always think, and I know that we've had different head coaches and different strategies, but if you're a receiver, Texas Tech seems like a really fun place for you
under
to be.
Zach Kitley for sure.
Especially under
Kitley. A little bit of a with our past coaching staff, but we're back to it.
It makes sense. It seems to be a thread that will forever stay with Texas Tech. So I always look forward to the receivers because of course we hear them a lot, and it's all flashy and like you said, but that's really exciting, and it seems like a fun player to watch too. Yeah,
he'll be flashing in all the games as long as he stays healthy. As far as I know, he's healthy in camp. Every once in a while there's a highlight that comes out of our quarterback throwing a bomb, and every time I see the highlight, who's on the other end of that bomb? McCray.
It's
every time. So they're linking up in practice. And we have some good defenders out there. Our defense is about as old as that offensive line. So he's not going against slubs, and he's about to have a chance to shine up in Wyoming and then back home for Oregon to start off the season. So I'm really excited to see him.
It's so crazy.
If I could draft one player on the team, I would have picked him. Put it that way.
Wow, that's a big statement.
I'll be watching him. I'm excited to watch. I like players to do that.
Yeah, so now we
have offense, I should say.
Yeah, the O-line. We're really excited about that. We got Drae McCray. That's number 2.
How about the other side of the ball?
Yeah.
How about the defender? When I say Drae McCray is the one I would draft for the flashy stuff, the one I am rooting for the most on this team, I think most of Red Raider Nation will agree, down to his teammates, is one Bryce Ramirez.
Bryce Ramirez.
If you haven't heard this story, where have you been? But he is the brand. His story is amazing, and the fact that he's not just back practicing, but he's 100% full go in their recent scrimmage, less than a year after what was a horrific injury.
Yikes.
In about, was that September last year? I was at the game. It was up here in Raleigh, North Carolina against NC State. This man was getting his first start and compound fractured his leg bone. It was bad.
Yeah.
We don't need to relive it, but it was not great. The stadium was silent. Even the visiting fans were just like,
yeah,
we don't know what to do. It was terrible. It took a long time to get him off the field. So they had to do what they do and air cast it and get it straightened as much as they could. And this man in the tunnel as he's leaving is smiling. There's this iconic picture. Maybe we can find the picture. We'll put it up on the screen in the edit or something. We'll try, or on Twitter, of him smiling as he's leaving. Like, his leg is just
not
tethered together by nerves and maybe some muscles at this point, and he's smiling as he's leaving the field. That was the start of it for him, and I'm sure he had down moments that we didn't get to see. I'm not saying he's a superhuman. It was a tough journey, but he was that positive at every step of the way. He had to stay here, and I say here, I live right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. He had to stay in North Carolina for 5 days. He couldn't travel back with the team. His leg was in that bad of shape. He had to have immediate surgery. He had ended up having 2 surgeries in the span of 5 days while he was here in North Carolina recovering. And then he finally was stable enough, if you will, to fly back to Texas. And that's where his journey really began on the recovery. But he was smiling through it all. And I'm sure you've seen stuff on him too over the past year.
Yeah, I remember seeing the injury, or like watching the game with the injury, and I was just like, oh my God, like the worst part about sports, right? Like an injury like that. And so talking about his journey going through it, I mean, he's going to go through it like his whole collegiate career, his whole career, right? So I think that adds to
this will be his last go to his senior.
His story. So like, okay, you talk about, I know the 2 words, the brand, and I know that Joey McGuire loves that. How would you like describe the brand? Like, has Joey said something specific?
The definition of the brand is the toughest, hardest working, most competitive team in the country. That is the brand. Okay. So that's what you hear him say over and over again. We want to be the toughest, hardest working, most competitive team in the country. That's what he wants the brand to stand for. And this is all of that. It's resilience, it's toughness, it's coming back from that. He is the brand. Yes. And furthermore than that, he was given the number 3 jersey this year. I don't remember what his number was last year, but you'll see him out there in number 3, and that's a really, really, really important number in Texas Tech football lore, and I think it will be forever. It'll become historic as we go on decades later. It's only the 2nd year of us doing that because it's a McGuire thing, but people that have followed the team in all athletics will know Luke Siegel. He has passed away, unfortunately, but he was fighting illness for a long time, and his spirit and his determination and all that were such an inspiration to so many Texas Tech athletes. His dad was great with all the money he raised for his foundation that now continues to help kids that were similar to Luke. And a lot of players have connected to this kid, and to that. Even Patrick Mahomes, you'll see him, if you watch a Kansas City Chiefs game, you'll see him wearing a Team Luke bracelet. A lot of athletes still wear those. So this number was given out to him in honor of him. Cool. And every year someone will wear it that represents the brand in Joey's words. And he says, that is the toughest, hardest working, most competitive guy on the team. Yeah. That was Bryce Ramirez. I'm sure no one even had it up for a question this year. Like, obviously, it's going to this guy who came back. Again, I can't stress, less than a year. I expected this guy to play this year, but I was like, he probably won't get to really be free until maybe October. Yeah. But it's wild, because that is one of those, if it breaks in the wrong spot, nerve-wise, you could not come back. So, good job by the doctors, good job by the physical therapy team at Texas Tech, the athletic trainers at Texas Tech, all the rehab, and of course Bryce himself to come back this quick. Wow, that's cool. So he's 100% though. Like there's not anything that we've been told. Yeah, I mean, as far as what the coaches are saying, they're saying he 2 weeks ago, I think Joey said, he's 100% at practice. Dang. He played in the scrimmage the other day. I don't know if he's going to be a starter. I don't know. Right. He's a former walk-on, actually. His story's really cool, and that was the other part of that game that was so heartbreaking. It was his first ever start. He had worked his way, and he's up as a senior getting his first ever start in that game, and he breaks, and he was playing well. Like, he was pressuring the quarterback, had a couple tackles, and so, I know, from all accounts, he's not just an honorary, like, a raw team spirit, like, let's do this for, like, like, kind of like a, I don't know, just like a joke on the sidelines kind of things that teams do, just for fun, just to honor him. Like, he's going to be playing. Yeah. And he's going to be playing well from all accounts, and he'll get in there and do his thing. So
wow, yeah, that'll be really big. I think a really big moment for Bryce too. Like
that Wyoming game. Assuming if they're saying he's 100%, I'm sure he'll play. So they can't be saying that and then him not play. So he'll get in there, whatever depth area he is on the depth chart. I can't imagine this guy's going to be kept out of the game as hard as he works. Apparently, he was flashing in the scrimmage the other day. He's making some plays. So
cool.
Again, those are closed scrimmages, but that's what the people are saying.
That's what the people are saying. So he's going to be wearing the number 3 the whole season?
Yeah, he'll be 3, which is an interesting number for a defensive lineman. So I'm sure all the opposing teams are going to be like, why is the defensive lineman wearing number 3? And then that story, that's even better for Team Luke because that story is going to get told every game because it will be unusual. It's not, I think last year it was a defensive back. Number 3 is not that unusual for a defensive back. So it probably didn't come up as often on the broadcast.
Bryce was number 54.
Yes, that's right.
So just a little different. But a singular number on that. Yeah, that's going to be very obvious.
It's gonna be hype. And then he himself was asked what this meant to him, and he said, being given the opportunity to wear the number 3 for the Scarlet and Black means the world to me. This is an outstanding honor to be recognized as the brand player by my coaches and peers, as well as being given the opportunity to represent Luke and his legacy. I intend to wear this jersey with pride. Talk about motivation every time you go out there. Like, to have that number. How can you not be like, one more play. Go harder this play. Go harder this play. I'm doing this for Luke. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I'm playing for beyond himself, playing for his team, right? Like the bigger collective team. I think that shows a lot about his character. And to come back from an injury like this and to be brave enough to like go back into the game that did this in the first place, right? Like there's got to be so many mental barriers or like challenges for him, but I'm excited that Red Raiders get an opportunity to show up for him just as much as he showed up for Texas Tech.
I'm sure he'll get like a standing ovation if people like recognize that he's on the field back in Lubbock. It'll be a cool moment for him. Hype. Yeah. Nobody has more motivation going into the season than him. There's a lot of players on this team with really cool stories and a lot of things are coming back from, but he has his own story. It's his last year, and he's playing as Team Luke number. Like, he has all this motivation that it'll be fun. So I'd love nothing more than for him to have 5-6 sacks by the end of the year, have the best year of his career, maybe even turn some heads to the NFL level. Like, it would be such a cool, like, movie level story. Walk on to breaking your leg. Right? Yeah. Like, imagine that Hollywood script. You can't even write it. You're a walk-on player at a D1 school. You work your way, not getting a start until your senior year. Finally get the start. Shatter your leg in like the first quarter of the game. Shatter it. A lot of people are like, is this guy ever going to play again? I'm sure those were some very nervous surgeries that he was going in and out of up here in North Carolina those 5 days.
Traumatic, for sure.
And a lot of people were saying this summer, like, maybe he'll redshirt. He'll be a 6th, 7th year senior next year. That was kind of the thought. Like, there's no way Bryce is coming back. And then he started practicing in the summer, and you're like, wait a second. Is he actually going to do this? And then sure enough, he's here playing. Like, that is a movie script. And you get him to the NFL, book it. Disney is making that movie.
Disney?
Yes. They should make it anyway before he gets to the NFL. But if he gets to the NFL, that is a movie. That's the new Blind Side right there.
Wow. Yeah. You heard
Sandra Bullock, get on over.
Is she busy? Don't know. We'll find somebody else.
She can play the surgeon.
Too good not to be told. That's a really, really cool story. And yeah, it's something that like we haven't really seen this before. Has there been like a brand player before, or is this
last year
inspired
was the
by
first
Luke?
one?
Okay,
it was inspired by Luke. But last year McGuire started it as his first year. I can't remember. It was a defensive back. I'm trying to remember his name.
Okay.
I'm blanking, but it was well deserved by him too. He was a leader on the team, and well deserved for him to have it. He had been through a lot of coaching changes at his time at Texas Tech and had fought through them all, and was also a toughest, hardest working, most competitive guy on the team. So it was well deserved, and everyone expected that too.
Cool.
But this is has a little bit more meaning to it because of what he's come back from. So
sweet. Amazing.
Shout out to you, Bryce. You're welcome on the pod anytime, buddy.
Anytime.
Any of you. I mean, Drae, we'll have you on here too. But any of you offensive linemen, let's go. But Bryce is a really cool story, and everyone should learn it if you haven't for some reason heard it, and root him on this year.
Yeah. So the 3 stories to look out for are pretty good.
You heard them. And then one just
what's this
last
honorable mention?
that kind of came out in the last 2 days that I just got to give props to Tyler Shuck. My man's out there singing Blink-182 on his mic'd up videos. Yes! And if that doesn't tell you he's about to win a Heisman, I don't know what does. You got how old is he? 22?
The kids still know.
23, and he's singing Blink-182? The man knows his music.
I need the video.
He's in his emo feels. It's on. We shared the clip of him singing it on our Twitter page, Seeing Scarlet page, if you'd like to watch
Glad
it.
we're doing that.
And there's a whole full video of mic'd up. It's great,
yeah?
but he sings it in that, and he like on key with the perfect accent, inflection that they do. It was perfect. So that was my honorable mention. It's not has nothing to do with stats or science, but the correlation between singing Blink-182 as a 22, 23-year-old and winning the Heisman has to be 100% correlation. I'm pretty sure.
Has to be.
I'm pretty sure. So
has to
when
be.
he's accepting the trophy up in New York in December, they're gonna play the clip of him singing Blink-182 in practice in August and be like, "We should have known. We tried to warn you. Go ahead, New York, ESPN, you listening? Go ahead and put this clip on your broadcast up in New York when we tried to warn you that he was going to win the Heisman." Because
he looks over at a teammate and goes, "Want to sing some Blink-182?"
Nobody responds. It's like nobody even knew.
And he's like, "I don't need any of y'all. I'm going to do it anyway."
And still nobody responds. Like nobody joins in. They're just like, "Bro, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't."
You blinked 182 times?
82 times?
Well, that seems painful.
Where are you?
Where are you?
I'm so sorry.
I'm right here, buddy. I'm right next to you. It's like,
wow. I love that.
Yeah, honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Love you, Ben. Stay
amazing.
Healthy, stay healthy, win a Heisman, go
Do
out.
It. Sure.
He could have been number 3, too. He has a cool story as well. 2 broken collarbones. Coming back for his senior year, gets to play his former team in Oregon, week 2. Cool storyline in there as well, and he sings Blink-182. So
no injury. 2023 is
that's
where I'm at.
Put it on a tattoo.
I will tattoo it to every person I see.
I'm here for it.
Texas Tech will start their season against Wyoming, like you said, in Wyoming, September 2nd.
Tough game, guys.
It's a tough game.
Wyoming. Don't
sleep on Wyoming, and then the home game against Oregon, September 9th, 7 p.m.
Shock the world.
Shoot, I might be saying Eastern times too, by the way. Sorry, y'all. Figure it out yourselves.
Yeah.
The Oregon game is sold out, right? And Houston,
yeah, we sold out.
Question mark?
Yeah, I think Houston and Oregon are already sold out.
Let's go.
All of our season tickets are sold out. All
Cool.
that's left is single game tickets and student seating.
Good.
Again, we're missing part of the stadium, but those were only student seats, so it's not like that's even helping us. It's impressive what the hype around Lubbock. So.
Yeah.
Be there.
Cool.
I was hoping I was going to be at the Oregon game. I'm just not going to be able to make it work with work, unfortunately. Sad day.
Okay,
but I'll be hopefully in Texas maybe this time next year and can go to more games. But this year, y'all are going to have to hold it down for us. Get us that dub. It should be top 10 Oregon. It'll be fun.
Do it.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, y'all. Wreck 'em.